it was when Mario Paint came out. And, at the time, you're kind of starved for nearly any Mario merchandise. There was, barely any. It was out there, but it was all limited stock and always short runs. Mm-hmm. And they had, these... It wasn't even anything that cool. But it was, basically, a bottle. A paint bottle with Mario's head on the top. I'm like, that's close enough to an action figure. I'll fucking take it. It was that or Toucan Sam, because it came in a thing of Fruit Loops. And you had to order... Sam. And you're gonna be like, okay, so send us the... proof of purchases, and we'll send you one of these things. And I sent in 2, just with a note in there saying, can you please send me at least one Mario? If you want to send me a Toucan Sam one, that's fine, but just send me at least one Mario because I got enough for 2. They send me 2 Toucan Sams. You motherfuckers. You can tell from the handwriting this is a child. You can tell. There's
a guy literally sitting in the office be like, he's like, hey, this little fuck wants a Mario. Oh, yeah. Put 2 Toucan Sams in there. Give him the one that's flipping the bird.
Fuck that guy.
Exactly.
It's funny, but it's no different if I've recently tried to order something from Russia, and it's the same. It is the same thing.
Well, Russia's almost a little bit even slower than getting stuff from China, because I order a lot of things from China, but
you start trying to convert U.S. dollars to Russian rubles on their websites, and it's like, man, this is sketchy.
Well, also, I don't know what it is, but when you hear Russian rubles, that just literally sounds like Legend of Zelda currency. I gotta go smash some pots to go get me
I gotta take my real money and turn it into fake money, and then hopefully you get it. And hopefully in 8 months from now I actually get what I paid for.
Yeah.
Go outside and cut a few bushes down, and you'll find your money. Why do I have to fucking go through the process of this shit? I could also see there's that Russian bravado that comes with it. It's like, no, fuck you. It gets there when it gets there.
Oh no, that's pretty much exactly what they said. No, you hit it on the head. That's pretty much exactly what they said. I'm 8. Let's see, more 9 months in, and 3 emails just hey, where's my shit? Sorry.
Well, 9 months is a long time.
Be patient.
No, be patient.
You will get it, along with my sister.
You'll
when
either
she
get
comes.
it or you won't. End of story.
Maybe dead when she gets there. Don't give me shit, bro. Family cow died this morning.
That cow was like a brother to me.
And that's exactly what it was like.
I would never send my cow over, but my sister... she's worth a couple ruples.
That's not funny. I was trying to think of something funny to follow up with. I'm glad we're not doing this show just yet.
Well, too bad I already recorded, but...
We're not recording. We're still waiting for Austin, though, right?
Yeah, we're waiting for Austin, but I was just like, well, I don't know. I'm just going to start the recorder anyways. Well, you know what I mean? Well. Oh, that doesn't work. I know you want to play with that, but I don't even know how that is. This whole side, you could literally chop this off of my drawing tablet because I don't use the rest of that. I only use this part. It's got these buttons here, but I realized I'd accidentally end up hitting my hand on it. I'm like, I like the keyboard more. I know that's as interesting as all can be, but, I like drawing on the tablet. See, don't you like my fun mouse for
dude,
carpal tunnel hands?
It's a Ryan Scheller mouse.
No, he's got the ball mouse though.
Oh, you're right.
Where it's like a track. It's like an arcade system that was not fun. I remember my buddy had that back in 20 years ago, Cisco, and I remember going over there playing Age of Empires 2. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? This trackball thing with your thumb and everything like that. I'm like, he's like, yeah, so you don't get carpal tunnel. I'm like, I'm gonna get carpal tunnel on my thumb in no time. You know how many times you got to move your thumb around to command all your troops and stuff?
Those ball mouse things, I never see. I never see those anymore. So I'm wondering if that's just a thing of the past. But I never see the ball mouses anymore. Oh, I remember seeing them a lot in the 90s.
Because they used to sell a lot of those kind of you could still buy all those ergonomic, I guess you would call them, mice and keyboards. They got that one keyboard where I think it's split like a V or kind of like a V or a U. Which probably is, if you take your hands and you put your hands up like this, look how your hands kind of go. I understand why it is. Your hands aren't like this; they're like this. But
just got the thing. Power Ranger deck.
Hey, there's Austin. There he is.
Hello, I'm alive.
Dude, I like your Japanese background right there.
Thank you. Yes, we have a divider because me and my fiance both work from home, and this is where it's come to.
Yeah, well, I had one of those dividers.
In a positive way.
Hey, well, I had one of those dividers in the house once too, and I thought it was great till I got up in the middle of the night to go take a pee, and I forgot the divider was there, and I just run into it. So like, oh! And it's dark. I didn't turn the light on. I'm in my own house. Why am I going to turn the light on? So that thing goes over, breaks the top of it off. It was probably like some nice ancient Japanese style one. So it seemed like it should have been, and then I'm like, crap, I broke it. It's midnight, whatever. I'll fix it in the morning. And then I put it back together. I'm like, I got some like Gorilla wood glue. This will work, right? Put that on, slam it down. Well, then it drips.
The metal joint.
It drips down the side. Now it's just up in the attic and just, I don't know what to do.
I could just imagine when you crash into it, just in the dark, you just hear like those cartoon bongo footstep run drums, and then with like a cat meow, like all the stock sound effects.
I have bongos in my fucking studio.
Yeah.
I got some Donkey Konga ones.
Scooby runs.
I got the Donkey Konga ones.
Wait, do they actually like work? Like, are they legitimate Donkey Kong bongos?
Yeah, they're the ones that go into the GameCube, so you can play Donkey Konga.
So no, they don't actually.
Oh, that's a fucking thing.
They make a plasticky rubber sound and so on like that.
They're not legitimate bongos made out of
The answer to that
skin.
question is no. Not actual bongos.
No, it's like the other Guitar Hero of the time. It's like there was Guitar Hero, there was Dance Dance Revolution, there was Donkey Konga.
Me and my boys, we were way ahead of it when we started playing video games. Rhythm games? Dude, have you played Donkey Konga before?
How many like douchebags just hang out like at the college quad on bongos? How many think started that because they played Donkey Konga?
Well, see, I remember just like in college playing I remember Cisco like one time like I got up early to go to a class or something, and then Cisco's like, well, shit, I'm gonna play some Donkey Konga like in the apartment, and he starts playing it and he's banging on the drum and everything, probably playing it with quiet and everything. But there's this knock at the door all of a sudden, and this like Asian guy that comes in, just barely speaks like any English. He just looks at Cisco, puts his hands on like his ears, and goes, "Too loud, too loud,
too loud." My God, he's too funny.
But yeah,
no.
I just want to say this real quickly. Welcome to the Old Man Orange Podcast. We got Austin back on the show. It's been way too long, and to top it off,
missed you all.
We got my buddy Dylan right here, who's never been on the show, but he's listened to it and always wanted to be on it, so he's joining too. So we got a quad party going with
the quad party.
Quad pod.
It's good to meet you guys. I'm happy to be here.
Quad pod.
So I just thought we would just get all into it and just come out swinging and just have a good old time.
I can only swing one arm. I got vaccinated yesterday and I can't move my other arm. Can't.
Oh shit!
We're like,
yeah, poor girl. Poor girl's out of commission.
Is this your first or second dose? Because the second one did me in.
It's my first, and my friend in Iceland, he got the first one, and he was like, this pussy shit. And then, like, the second time, he FaceTimed me. He just FaceTimed me right after he sent me the message of, hey, I'm about to go in for my second one. About 20 minutes later, he sends me a video, and he's like, his face is sweating. And I'm like, are you good? And he was just like, I'm not taking it well.
I don't remember what I dreamed, but I remember the second one, I was feeling rough, like almost immediate. And I went to my fiance, Ava. She's like, you should go probably take a nap. I'm like, all right, that's a good idea. So I did. I have no idea what I was dreaming. I don't even remember this. But at some point, she walked in the room, and I just flung up, like sweating, like I'm late for camp. I'm like, what? I'm late for camp. Like what? Like I just passed out, went back to bed. So
that was me when I chose to take one too many edibles. I had just came back from California to Florida. I don't miss it, but I knew I had some plugs, and I was like, all right, I need to mellow out a little bit. So I met up with my friend. He gave me some little gummy bears. And
where you messed up.
It said if anybody that's listening to the podcast doesn't know weed, 100 milligrams was what was advertised on the packaging. That wasn't what was in there. I've had 100 milligrams. That's not, no. It's like every gummy bear was about 300. And so I took all four, and next thing I know, I'm having a real hard time kind of handling what's happening. And then on top of that, cut maybe 10 minutes later, I'm naked in the bathroom, and my fiance walks in, and she's like, are you okay? And I'm just like, I hate this.
Cut
Am
to
I gonna
the Nick
die?
Swartzen routine about being violently high.
I hate that. I hate that. And I have friends that live down here that are like, I want to get messed up like that all the time. And I'm like, if I can't control my bodily functions to the point where I can't trust myself with clothes on, I don't want to do drugs anymore.
The first time I ever...
You just had like the Who's Tommy playing in your head the whole time.
Who's Tommy? What the fuck is that?
Oh, look it up. We'll just talk over here. I'm going to tie Led Zeppelin shirt.
The most Old Man Orange reference.
If there's anything that I've learned to do in my life, it's not to act like I know what people are talking about. If I don't know, I need to acknowledge that I don't fucking know.
No, I get you. No, it's just it's one of those weird ass like it's a musical. I can finish it.
Is it a Led Zeppelin reference? Because now I'll feel bad because I
No,
It's
the Who.
the Who. So it's
it's the Who.
So what it is, it's kind of like there's like the Pink Floyd The Wall movie. Well, like the Tommy's like kind of like their rock and roll sort of opera movie thingy-majig. It's even got Elton John in it.
Okay,
and whatnot.
so is their take on? Is it related to one of their albums, like The Wall is, or?
Yeah, there's an album called Tommy, which I remember as a kid I got Tommy because I was really into the Who, and I was like, oh, this album's gonna be awesome. I put it in, I'm like, oh, somebody must have switched the cassette on this. What the fuck? This can't be this doesn't sound anything like the Who. And then it's like, lo and behold, it's like, oh no, that's what it is.
It's saving this for my things to watch.
Yeah, it's a weird musical.
Oh, it's a personal thing. It's not
the Pinball Wizard part with Elton John's probably like the best part of it, but.
Some part refried greens are shooting out of the TV, and some like bombshell actress at the time is all just rubbing herself in it. Like, what the fuck is going on?
See, now you've sold me on it, and now I have to watch it because something like that is happening in that movie.
Yeah,
it's just like the Clockwork Orange trailer. Just I don't know what the fuck it is, but I must see what that is now.
That trailer is amazing.
So like before I even knew what Clockwork Orange was, I saw it without any context, and I was on LSD. And those two things didn't go together very well. My friend was just like, hey, because he knew what Clockwork Orange was and I didn't. So he was just like, we're going to sit on my couch, drop some LSD, and we're going to watch some Clockwork Orange.
That's
and I was
harsh. That's cold.
See, I didn't know. What I had I was such a young lass. And I remember I sat down on the couch and like, it got into the ideas of rape and shit, and I'm like, oh no! And my friend's like, no, you're staying here and you're watching it. I'm like, I don't want to be here anymore. And then we got to the part of the movie where like there's traffic is a thing, and his eyes are just. I'm like,
and then he turns and looks at you, and that's how you're set up in the chair.
Because I was like,
he's like, you better fucking watch it. He's got a giant penis above his head, about ready to smash it on you.
Don't fucking move.
Someone in a white jumpsuit starts slamming your balls with his cane. Yeah.
Oh my god, no. Oh god. That movie was so fucking brutal.
Here's the thing about that movie's a whole different, I imagine that movie's a whole different trip on LSD, but
it was.
Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
It made me like second guess reality, but I'm also like, I'm very existential when I watch movies and when I try to think about things. So I got the messages like fucking immediately, but then I was also taken aback by the visuals, which were already being like hallucinogenized or hallucinating. Like all of these pictures and colors were moving around. People in white jumpsuits were morphing into these weird jello creatures. That was happening, and I was understanding the context of the movie. So I'm like,
you got the Clockwork Orange Flubber crossover, huh?
Yeah. See, when me and Ryan first watched that movie, this is how we watched it. It was like me, Ryan, and our buddy Cisco were sitting on like this teeny ass couch. We're like slammed against each other because this was like right when like Blu-rays came out. So he got this on like, he got a PS3 and he got the Blu-ray of it. And we're watching it on like a 19-inch screen because that's all he could afford with
Hey, listen. PS3 Blu-ray, that shit hit different.
Oh yeah,
that shit hit very fucking different.
But what I'm more saying is, we were watching on like a screen smaller than my monitor right here, doing this podcast, and we're just right there next to each other because you got to sit as close as possible, or else you're not gonna be able to see this screen. And that was like the original experience of this film. At like 11 o'clock at night at like his mom's house.
Wow, fucking.
No drugs involved, probably just soda.
Yeah,
this is gonna sound really fucked up at first, but I honestly think, clearly it is meant to be kind of like a warning of a cautionary tale type thing. But part of me feels like Kubrick just has the most fucked up personality, fucked up sense of humor, because I feel like that movie is halfway a comedy.
It is. It's a satirical like horror comedy, because you can tell the points where like it was timed at certain points to be funny, and you're like, what the fuck? Like your brain doesn't understand the difference between the fucked up parts, which are clearly being acknowledged to you, and then the funny parts, which are like, okay, well, he understands timing, but what?
There's even like the parts, there's the small things. Like you see, like when he stumbles his way back to the house where he did the raping, accidentally stumbles back, and you just see the old dude sitting there reading a book, and you just hear, off screen. You're like, what the fuck is going on? And it holds on him for like maybe a minute or something. He's like, Julian, somebody's at the door. Then all of a sudden, this jacked British dude in the shortest shorts possible in a polo shirt walks by. Like, I'll get the door. And then like when he's like staring down Alex, when he finally realizes who he is, the look he has on his face and just the angle, it's like, you can't tell me you're anybody who's not laughing at that is holding it in.
Well, it's probably one of those movies like kind of like a Gran Torino, where some people think it's freaking hilarious, and then some people are like, what was funny about that movie? I think that's how
there's
Clockwork
a gray
Orange is.
area with comedy sometimes.
Dylan, what was your first experience in seeing a Clockwork Orange? I feel like everybody sort of has a different story on that.
I was on DMT, actually.
Oh.
My boy! It's the Silent Killers!
Dude, it was terrible.
DMT would be like that. That's LSD like on crack, but not actually crack.
Dude, I honestly, I think I disagree, because I think trying to watch a movie and function is harder when you're on LSD.
It was very hard.
Because the last time I looked at a TV screen that was on when I was on LSD, it was South Park. The problem in my head at the moment was that the screen looked like real life, and everyone around me looked like the cartoon characters.
You got the inverted world.
The inverted world. And then I spent the next 4 hours staring into the mirror. I got stuck in the bathroom staring in the mirror, which is, if you ever do LSD, do me a favor and do never look at a mirror. Bad idea.
I did it, but I looked like directly into my irises, and then I went into like my own little world. I'll be fair. Those experiences were just like, artistically speaking, I was like, whoa. But like my sanity wise, I was like, oh, so that's how Dark Souls makes you feel when you lose a little bit of.
It's like the third impact in Evangelion is happening in your mind right now.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of TV screens or mirrors when it comes to LSD.
Don't put me in put you in a room full of mirrors.
Dude, the only thing I could do to keep myself sane that night was literally sat there for however many hours ripping out the prettiest pictures in National Geographic that I found and stapling them to the wall of my kitchen. So
you wake up, it's just all like those like native pictures of like the naked ladies.
But the best part, it was all like pictures of like blown up like microscopic images of hairs and microbes and stuff like that, and then you wake up and go, that's the perfect sober representation of an LSD trip.
Yeah, you run out of those, you're like, okay, where are my zoo books?
Where are my zoo books?
Now,
I was such a bad kid. Like when I was a kid, zoo books were like the hottest shit on the market, and I went to my friend's house, and I was such a klepto when I was a kid. I would go into my friend's house and just take shit I didn't need. I looked at one of his zoo books, and I'm like, today's the day I start a zoo book collection, and I yoinked that shit. And then I came back another day, and he had the next edition, and I was like, whoop. And at some point, I had the whole collection, and my mom was like, we didn't order you zoo books. And I was just like,
this is a zoo-free house here.
She went into her room, and I just ran back to my friend's house, and I just left them on his porch. and then I came back to his house a few days later, and he was like, "Hey Austin, did
enjoy the article about camels?"
You go in there, he's sitting in the dark in the corner, just one little bit of light on and so on. Swirling some kind of kid cocktail. You got a Shirley Temple.
It's got a gummy bear. It's got a gummy worm hanging out of it. Just
arms crossed, leaning back.
That's my monster truck. What are we gonna do about it? That's my monster truck. I'm gonna have to cut your dick off.
I do have to say this real quick. I know this goes with the animal books and so on, but I want to say this real quickly on Dylan's thing. Okay, so if mirrors in TVs are bad, now what would it be like if you were in Enter the Dragon's Bruce Lee scene where there's mirrors everywhere?
Oh, just going through a fucking fun house.
That's exactly.
Chinese man with a sword for a hand chasing you.
I something about that makes me severely uncomfortable, I think the first time I ever saw that notion of a hand being a sword was from Terminator. And when I saw that, I was like, he's fucking unstoppable. Something about this is gone. It's a blade. This shit's a blade. Nah. My brain couldn't. My kid brain couldn't handle that level of danger. And I'm like, and he's running really fast. Those two things don't click.
Think back on Terminator 2 for a second, because Terminator 1 was meant to be more of a horror movie than an action movie. And then Terminator 2 just embraced the action. But really, think about it. T2 almost could be, depending on how you direct it, could be a scarier movie just because that is so much more unstoppable than it doesn't have the same presence as Arnold, but
Yeah, but it's the concept of a solid being able to become a liquid and then become a solid that can produce sword hands.
Exactly.
That is danger incarnate, and
take the form of whatever too.
Yeah, and Arnold, listen, danger incarnate's right fucking there. He'll punch the shit out of you, but this guy can literally develop a blade, which will kill Arnold in any sense. Well, I don't know what the fuck happened there. I want to have the guys at Death Battle do a.
Oh fuck Death Battle.
Oh, you don't like them?
They did. Go ahead.
No. They did something, because I got hot takes all over the place, but I love anime. And they just recently did a Madara Uchiha from Naruto and against an Aizen from Bleach, and I'm a mad Bleach fan. Love this shit. I got a sword right over here. Yeah. What's up?
I see the kimono back there. Yeah.
Oh well, that's the Akatsuki robe, but I do actually have an actual Shihakusho from Bleach for Kisuke, but I digress. When I saw that, I was like, I didn't believe the outcome, because it was that Madara had won, and I didn't believe it. And I was like, I don't agree with your take. And a bunch of my Bleach friends were like, yeah, they shit on Aizen. And I was like, fucking assholes. I felt cheated out, so I get it. But what's your take? I want to hear this.
I feel first off, they know they just sometimes like to pick the one you don't. First off, they put up lineups that no one ever asked for or questioned.
They did One Punch Man versus Popeye the Sailor Man.
Yeah, well,
Popeye the Sailor Man won.
Well, the one that
That's
I just
legacy there.
There was Raiden from Metal Gear Solid Revengeance versus Wolverine, and Raiden won, and it's just Well, technically, if you look right here, he does a side flip, which is something he's known to do in the game, and in that moment, he cut off his head. We believe he would have the agility to... Oh, shut the fuck up.
That was actually a top tier. That was a top tier impersonation.
Fuck that show. And then there's like whenever they'll do ones where, because I used to watch it just out of curiosity. I mean, their narration was, I found, kind of annoying. And then there's one where
I'd always just skip to the animated fights. I just skip directly to those.
I usually, there's a time I watched the whole thing and I couldn't take it. I just jumped to the fight. And then there's like one, what was it? It was, they had Batman versus Captain America. Batman won. And then they did a re-resed version of it, new version, and Captain America won suddenly. And it's like one of those things like I'm not going to be that guy who complains like, my guy always loses. But after a while, I just get like, they find the dumbest fucking reason for these characters to win or lose. Like fucking I don't watch the show, so I don't know who he is, but somebody from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure killed Alucard from Hellsing. Like, get fucked.
What sounds ironic though is I think JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is actually older than
the one with the black. Did he have a black hat and a trench coat?
I don't know what he had. He had like yellow hair. But what would you say, Spencer?
Oh, Dio, fucking Dio, man.
Please well, as I say, is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is technically, I think, almost even older than Hellsing in a weird way. Because that first video game's like, I want to say is 97, 98, because it's on Dreamcast and PlayStation 1. That's where I always knew it from.
I don't know. I just like, how do you kill...
Oh, wait, are we talking about Alucard from...
We're talking about Alucard, not Castlevania, Hellsing. Because Hellsing's like 98, 99.
Yeah, Hellsing the anime, right? The one that came from the manga?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yep. Sorry, my brain did
because standard Alucard technically is older. Because if you want to go back to Son of Dracula, the movie in like 1954 or whatever.
Oh, that's OG. That's OG.
So I mean, depends on what you're going with there, but yeah. No, it is one of those ones. Well, I think that's the thing. No matter what, like you have those kind of battle things. There's no way to write that's going to work out for everybody. It's always somebody's going to get pissed off. Somebody's going to lose their bet. You know what I mean? Like, sir, what are you doing? You're betting on this thing that they fucking have to draw it and make it up themselves. Like, oh yeah, but I thought I should put some money down.
Well, it's like, here's the other one that really pissed me off. Fucking, like, I'm not going to sit here the whole time just, like, 3 hours in, and then this other episode. No, here's the one that pissed me off. It was Iron Man versus Batman, and Iron Man won. It's like, every time they put Batman in there, he gets his ass kicked. And so it's like, I'm not going to complain Black Panther killed him. I'm not going to, I'll even take Captain America. Sure, okay, whatever. But, like... When you come in, Spider-Man even, like Spider-Man beat him, like Batman's kicking his ass the whole time. Like, well, this is meant to be, if Batman had time to plan this out, then maybe Batman would have won. Like, that's
not
his whole
maybe.
Fucking
you know
thing.
He would have just had a gun and just shot him in the foot.
That's his thing. He wouldn't know there's like a fucking guy swebbing around like this city or whatever the fuck, But then he lost to Tony Stark, and they come up with all these things like, yeah, sure, Bruce had the advantage and all the hand-to-hand combat, but when it gets down to it, the Hellbat suit is just not as strong as any Iron Man suit. Like, oh, fuck off.
So can we address the fact that you're also putting Batman, who doesn't kill people, into a series called Death Battle, where you're supposed to kill the opponent?
Well, that was always made me wonder. It's like, is that the reason why Batman doesn't win? Is they're just using that
Batman
against
just
him?
throws the fights every fucking time.
But yeah, I mean,
I'm not gonna break my own rules, not today. I'm gonna die for my country.
Enough about Death Battle. I don't want to just sit here. Like, first time Dylan's on the show, and so far all I've done is, like, complained about fucking Death Battle.
well, really, it's almost like, I mean, now on Death Battle, do they have something like, because, on Celebrity Deathmatch, like, Marilyn Manson pretty much never could lose on that. He seemed to be, like, the god character of the show.
Yeah.
That was always the thing.
I miss Death Battle. I miss Celebrity Deathmatch, like, so much.
Well, that's one of those ones. That show, it's like you can't find it anywhere. You can find like season 5 for some reason. I don't know why season 5 pops up on like Paramount Plus. And
of course, you would know that. But
well, I was like, well, because it was one of the ones I had. One of these points, I was like, oh shit. No, I think it was when I got the CBS like a while ago, whatever the CBS show or All Access, whatever the fuck, because my mom wanted to watch a show on there, and I was like, oh dude, they got Celebrity Deathmatch on there. That's fucking awesome. And then like they had just season 5 only. I'm like, well, I don't want season 5. I mean, it's not bad, whatever, but like I want that like 97 to like 2000 run. And I can't find like YouTube doesn't have any of them on there.
The fact that was on broadcast TV it blows my mind.
The fact that it's actually been streaming means somebody's getting royalties somewhere, because Celebrity Deathmatch just hit differently, just because of like you'd have to get the references.
Yeah.
It was very of the moment, so a lot of the probably pop culture references they were making at the time, like what's this,
like
Buffy
Madonna,
the Vampire?
Dude, the kids these days wouldn't even know who the majority of the people in that are. So.
Who's got their phone close to the microphone? My sanity is gonna collapse.
I don't think it's me, but let me.
Oh, it might. Yeah, let me get that out of the way there.
I started streaming recently, and my phone stays right here, a very certain amount of distance away from my microphone, because every single time it goes close to the microphone, I sometimes get some feedback. It's not happening right now.
And it's not just microphones. I mean, me and Spencer used to work for a DJ company, and there was a very, very comfortable place to set your phone right next to your laptop that you're DJing on. But anytime you'd get a text message or a notification,
it goes to the speakers.
You'd start hearing the RF interference over the speakers, and you're like, what is that?
How is this happening?
Yeah. And then, yes. So after that, we learned the hard way that phones just stay at least 2 feet away. 2 feet away.
What used to be really bad is phones used to be even worse. Because I remember when we would shoot, when me and Ryan would shoot movies back in the day, is when everybody kind of just had, but I think almost before kind of smartphones, is just the certain band that would go through. If that phone was like in the vicinity of where you were shooting at, it would at some point pick up on that microphone. You would hear just the static sounds of the signal. Yeah. And so it was one of those ones like you'd tell people like, whatever you do, don't just put your phone on silent. Don't even just turn it off. Literally, don't
tell
even
your family not to call you.
Yeah,
tell
don't even bring it. It's completely off. And then you'd be sitting there editing, and then you'd be like, God fucking damn it, somebody had their phone on. They thought they could just turn it on silent and it would be okay.
Dude, and
that's why the Nokias are so durable, because before you had to go and do something, you had to chuck it a few miles away to survive the fall.
Well, I remember doing that in school to get service.
Camera.
You'd be like, hey, I need to get some service. So you would just chuck your phone up really high in the air and then have it come down and catch it. Granted, when you're throwing up just like a little teeny list, like, regular dial phone, like almost like what would be a burner phone nowadays, it's not that big of a deal. I could not imagine doing that now.
No.
You would be the most idiot kid to throw your phone in the air now.
There's got to be no kid that does that.
No, there definitely is.
In fact, that is the confident person. I've met many a person who has the weird type of balls to do that and not have a case or a screen protector on that phone.
Gross.
But that phone also has like a million cracks across the screen.
Yeah, so you can see all his mistakes of life.
Yeah.
He's like, I wear him like a badge of honor. Why don't you go get that fixed? Well, I don't know.
I don't really want to go do that because, what if I break it again? Maybe stop fucking chucking it 1.5 miles up into the sky.
Yeah. But sometimes
really had to send that text.
Yeah, so sometimes getting service was hard. That's why they had those good old bag phones back in like the 80s. I got my bag phone back here, but it's got an analog signal on it, and it penetrates through the mountains and trees and tall buildings.
There's a crank you got to turn on the back of it for like 15 minutes.
No. Let's just go on.
Oh my fucking god, I hated that. So I actually tried this because like my grandparents raised me, so I grew up in a household full of old technology. Mm-hmm. And this is technology from like the 60s and the 70s, old rotary phones. And I got curious once because I said to my grandfather, hey grandpa, because I didn't have a phone at this time because they didn't think that I needed a phone, even though everybody that I knew had razors and all that shit. But I said, hey grandpa, I want a phone in my room. And he was just like, oh, you do? And then he brought up this fucking rotary phone and he was just like, here you go. And I was like, what is this? And he was just like, oh, it's a phone. You can call your friends with it. And I was like, okay. And he was just like, all right, where's the phone line in your room? And I was like, well, what the fuck's a phone line? I want to go to Metro PCS and get a phone. He was just like, why do you need a phone? And I was just like, well, because I need a phone. And he was just like, I don't understand the logic there.
I don't think you got anybody to talk to. I'm just going to be honest.
But I got all those zoo books you haven't even read yet.
Yeah, I saw that stack of zoo books out there. That was my first indication that you don't got any friends.
Oh my god. And like it's funny because like the day, not even the week or the 2 days past, the day I got my first phone, it was a Nokia phone. And I was pissed. I was a little salty about it. But I was like, okay, it's a phone. I'm fine with it. It's a phone. Some girl that I was interested in at the time invited me to go and hang out with her and her friends by their local pool at her building. I go because, you know, I'm a kid. I'm like, all right, I want to meet up with some ladies, chat about my new phone and all that. I didn't even fucking show them my phone. In fact, I made sure to keep that shit in my pocket as a record that I'm going to have a new phone one day. And as if fate was handing me a golden apple from the sky, everybody was being very haphazard, and they're like, oh, we're going to jump into the pool with our clothes on. And I'm like, I'll do that too.
Should have brought the rotary phone.
I jumped into the pool, and as I got out, the girl that I liked turns to me and says, did you shit in the pool? I was like, what do you know? I didn't shit in the pool. And she was like, what's that? And I saw it, and I thought it was shit.
It's like a Caddyshack moment.
And then I was like, oh, fuck, it's my phone. And she was like, that's your phone? And I was like, stop! So all of my
just
shame.
a big old brown phone.
I just like the idea, like, they thought you, like, right before you jumped in the pool, you just, like, pant sleeved it, you know, just like shook it out the side of your pant leg, like, I don't need this no more.
Like a little fucking, like a boat road. Like a
little community snicker.
Oh my god. And it was, when I saw my grandfather, after that, he was like, well, now I'm not buying you a phone for a fucking month. And I was like, God fucking damn it. It was the most unlucky moment of my life. But then I got one of these really cool, like, it was like a regular phone, then you flipped it, and you had a whole keypad.
Oh, those are the best.
And the Envies.
Yeah, the sidekicks.
This is the shit right here. And all of my friends were like, yeah, but we got razors. And I'm like, your razor's fucking retarded.
It doesn't have a
what
keyboard.
What are you talking about? No, they're silly. Razors were not, I personally do not believe they were as useful as the sidekicks. Because sidekicks, first of all, that's two uses. I could, you know, text my friends using the stupid little 9-digit pad, but then I can flip it up and I can write a whole goddamn novel.
Yeah, well, that's what I love about the keyboard, because the keyboard, like, when I had that on, like, my old phone, like, I haven't had a keyboard forever, but, like, you can type so much faster. So if you're writing down notes and shit, you're just, like, typing away scripts and so on. You never mess up. Like, where you do, if, like, you know, like, a screen, you're inevitably going to hit the wrong digits at some point. Just, there's no perfect way to ever get it.
Exactly.
That's something, because I mean, I had like one of just the standard ass Nokia flip phones with the 9 digits, but that's something you got to think of in mind though. People who are sexting on like just the 9-digit one back in the time, like how just like take like 25 minutes and say, oh, then you take off your shirt, you know, like that kind of shit.
See, if only voice messages were a thing back then, because that probably would have just turned the whole tide of things.
Yeah, well, yeah, but then it would have just. You know, they would have put some kind of ridiculous cost to that. Because that was like the thing I was always like, hey, here's this more simple technology, texting. We'll charge them up the ass for it.
That's true. That's very true. Capitalism at its finest, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it probably takes so much less data than a fucking phone call. But like, no. We're going to make
it does. It's statistically speaking, it does. It's a short ping versus one long ping.
Mm-hmm. You know. Well, see, at least you never hooked that rotary up, because I'll say this, because I have a rotary phone.
I did at one point. I got really curious because I'm like, would it actually work? And it did. I called my mom, and my mom was like, where are you calling me from? What's this number? And I'm like, I'm calling you from the rotary phone. And she was like, rotary? What the fuck? You have a phone. And I was like, yeah, but I got curious. And she's like, hang up the goddamn phone. This is a weird number. And she showed me the number, and it was 6 digits.
Well, I don't know what that's kind of bizarre there, because the number's all based upon where you plugged it into it, not necessarily the phone itself.
Exactly. And it was a 6-digit number. And she was like, I was so scared because it was just like 645872. And
there's 3 6s in there. This is how a Blumhouse movie would start.
Yeah, basically. A Blumhouse movie.
But the older the phone number, the less digits there was, you know? It's like when you see like phone numbers from like in the early like 1900s and they're like 3 digits.
But I feel like that's a rarity though. Like that's
well, yeah,
cool.
I don't think anybody's got the 3-digit number anymore or anything like that. But
I think somebody does. Come on, you know, like some
I
really
want you to
rich
dial it.
person
I want you to dial. You dial the 3-digit number. Let's see if there's somebody there.
So 1, 2, 3, right?
Yeah. I mean, you could dial.
Hey, you're on a podcast right now. Like, oh, God damn it again with this shit.
You people keep adding me on the podcast, and I don't appreciate it. Let's do. Okay. I'm pulling my number from the skies here.
Well, I was just saying, last time I was at this one pizza joint in Copperopolis. It sounds weird, but there's an old flyer on the wall for like a market from like 100 years ago, and their number was 536.
536 it is. And what's the name of the market?
I have no idea.
Okay,
it's some
let's do it.
market like Sacramento or something like that, because it's like one of those old ones where there's like a lady on it, like, come shop here.
Nah, it's a dead number.
See, yeah, I didn't think so, but you know, this is the thing about the rotary phone though. You didn't have it where that thing rings, because I thought it'd be cool and hip to have the rotary phone hooked up in my house to make phone calls off of. But when that thing rings, and if it rings in the middle of the night, it is so fucking loud because it's just ringing a bell.
Yeah, well, my grandparents did have a phone that was in the kitchen that you could hear it from any part of the house. It go.
Well, yeah, that's what it is. It's so when you're out on the fucking farm, you can hear the phone ringing.
Yeah.
That's old fucking Bill again. Let me go see what he wants.
It's someone from down the lane trying to call me.
Yeah.
God.
He just let me put the fucking hoe down again. I'm never gonna get this fucking field tilled if he just keeps calling and telling me how great it is to have a new fucking phone.
Guess what I'm calling on? Like, oh shit, I don't know, Phil. What?
A rotary phone. Get the fuck out of here.
I just dialed it with my wiener this time.
Can you hear the difference?
I can
didn't
feel
hear you
it.
dire.
It did get caught once when the spinner went back. Oh, that was a doozy
Oh,
there.
fuck. It's worse than my fly last week.
It's okay. My wife left me 5 years ago. Who am I trying to impress now?
Yeah,
Bill's gotta stop doing shit with his dick.
that's the thing, though. Then I could just kind of stick it anywhere, you know, and hey, you know, if you got a phone, why not fuck the phone too? You know?
See, those are the people that end up in those really weird situations, like on 1,000 Ways to Die.
Yeah, like
This one guy bowed so much that he just ended up like he literally gave himself a concussion by just bowing for 5 straight hours until his brain became a mush, and then he just died.
I feel like 1,000 Ways to Die. I feel like that's where. Does anyone remember like America's Funniest Home Videos from like the early '90s when Bob Saget was? Well,
I think I say before Bob Saget, because before Bob Saget,
R.I.P. By the way.
Yeah.
Poor man. He was a good soul. Good soul.
well, like because they would have a lot of that, like the narrators, like, well, if you thought that was funny, I feel like those guys, after their like gigs on America's Funniest Home Videos and VH1 ran out, they went over to like 1,000 Ways to Die. It was a family of 4 all died brutally in this crazy weird car crash. You know, it was always just like the most goofiest voice, just like, look at how these fucking idiots died. Look at that.
This one guy worked at a fucking construction site, and he got shot in the head with a nail.
Well, that's I remember that show. I learned
father to 4.
I learned that more people died from vending machines falling over on them than shark attacks.
That makes
in America, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense in America because, like, when I used to work at the Humane Society, I had a lot of stupid people I worked with. 2 specific instances, which I will never forget. I literally, so I used to be the animal trainer, so I would train some of the dogs, and there was one dog that had come from a very broken home. So I was in the middle of getting him ready to move to his next owner. His owner already commissioned me to start training him for, you know, being comfortable around dogs and cats. I had explicitly put four things covering his window that said, do not go in, do not enter, training dog. I doubled everything and said, no volunteers allowed. I am off one day and I get a phone call from the Humane Society, and it is my supervisor, and she said, "Hey, we had to put Marley down." And I said, "What? Why? What the fuck happened? What, did she attack another dog?" And she was like, "No, hey, can you come in?" And I was just like, "Yeah, I'm leaving right now." And I left school and I came over there because it was like my after school thing. It wasn't like my thing at school, but I told my teacher, and my teacher was like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I went, and turns out of somebody, a volunteer, especially actually one that went to my school, was skipping school that day to go and just hang out at the Humane Society to chill with all the dogs. She went into his room, ignoring all of the very colorful, bright signs on his door. And I saw the fucking video camera too. It was so like, she didn't even look at the door. She just walked up and she was like, and she didn't even look at the fucking door. And she goes inside, and like, all I remember is there was a loud scream, and then she ran out, covering her face, and there's just blood just trailing on the floor. Mm-hmm. Turns out she went inside because, so one of the other camera angles actually looks into his, so it looks down the hallway, but you could see into his cell, and she smacked him 3 times in his face. And so she had some psychological issues, but she started abusing him, and he got angry and he bit her in the face. And so though that happening, and then me showing up, and then me finding out that Marley was being put down, I was like, why? And she was just like, this is what happens. And I'm like, this has happened before? And she was just like, sadly it has. And I'm like, why are you guys not in legal trouble? And she's like, we are. I'm like, oh my.
They put down the wrong party in this case.
Basically. Well, when I saw her, so she was in like the intensive care ward for like months and months and months, and she came back like the next semester to our school, and she got a lot of sympathy, and she played the victim card, like, this dog attacked me, and something in my bones was just like, don't say anything. But like, I actually told my principal, who I was already pretty close with, I was just like, hey, no, she actually abused that dog, and yeah, that dog bit her face because she was smacking him. And he was like, how do you know that? And I was just like, because I was the one who was training him, and I saw the videotape. And she was just like, oh, well, that's fucked up. And I'm like, yeah. And she was just like, I don't know how to address this situation. I'm like, I don't either. I mean, did she pay her penance? And she's just like, doesn't look like.
Oh, Jesus. What does this remind you of, Dylan?
Just another stupid person story along the same lines. Me and Spencer used to do weddings and events. That's how we met. And so I did.
You both met crashing a wedding.
Or DJing.
Yeah, so.
You two look like wedding crashers, like, legit.
Oh, yeah. So we're doing a wedding. It's out at, I won't say the name, but it's out at a very popular, very expensive, very big, functioning ranch. Whole wedding's great. Everything's good. Yeah, I don't think you were on that with me. I think it was Jordan.
Maybe.
But I get back at like 4 o'clock in the morning. I get a text message from my boss, and all it says is something to the effect of, hey, remember that really pretty girl there? They go, yes, because it was the pretty girl. And there was a bunch of people there. Yeah, she's in the ICU. I go, what?
Oh. That's the cycle. That's the intensive care ward. Yeah.
And I go and then there's ... in the text message, and she proceeded to crawl into one of the horse corrals at like 3 o'clock in the morning, hammered drunk. Got up and then tried to ride one of the donkeys. and to her credit, she was successful apparently. However, it also bucked her off and kicked her square in the face and knocked out all of her teeth, fractured both her orbital sockets, broke her nose. And this place is like 4 hours away from a hospital if you're driving fast.
She was just
Back off, bitch.
Just like take it out back and shoot it. Like you're not even gonna make it. And I felt kind of bad because she was a really pretty girl. She was so pretty that she's still fairly pretty, but it's there's a big difference.
The big donkey mark on her.
Yeah.
See, but that's the thing. Like, I feel like the further that we move into today's society, we're starting to see more people just openly do more stupid shit. I've had at least like 4 Karen encounters where you would have assumed that they know like what's happening in a moment and when something is getting a little too far and dangerous for them. But it's really weird because they're like Pomeranians. They just keep barking until shit gets bad, and then they go, wee, wee, wee! No. So when I was living in LA, I worked at a Starbucks, and it was the middle of the morning. It was like 4 o'clock in the morning, and we had just opened up. This one woman walks in, the Karen, but I think her name was like Charlene or something. I don't remember. But she placed her order for literally just a tall caramel macchiato, super simple. And for some reason, she was really like making it hard to explain. She wanted me to explain what a macchiato was, and I explained what our version of a macchiato was, which is not traditionally what a macchiato is. Traditionally, a macchiato is a little bit of foam with a shot of espresso inside. That's what it is. What we do is we take a big old cup of steamed milk and then we pour a shot on top of it. So it's like a supersized macchiato. Yeah, it's an American macchiato, and so it's a maracchiato. That's what it is. And so she orders that, and I have to explain to her what specifically it is because she was asking, and the woman behind her, like right before we were done, said, "Move your ass! I have to be at work." And she just got real loud, and then the Karen, it's like something activated there. And she was like, "Who the fuck do you think you're speaking to?" And she didn't realize the woman behind her was like a very fit bodybuilding woman. And so she turned around like she was gonna touch her. Like she moved around like she was about to like get into like a defensive position, but the girl just like she just knocked her ass right out. And my manager was like, "Holy shit, what did you drop?"
I love the first thing he's like, he goes to blame you. The first thing his mind
because I had
Austin
dropped coffee
fucked up
the last
again.
morning we opened, so he thought I had dropped coffee. That was a person, and she was like on the ground like. The woman who knocked her out walked up and said, "Can I get a caramel macchiato, please?"
One's ready, you know.
It was so fucking priceless. And like when I made it for her, I made it with like such zing. Like I made it and I did like a little bit of latte art and all that, even though you don't have to do that. But I was like,
yeah. Gonna get the extra.
Sorry, we had a little bit of a internet.
I see you only made it out of the time warp.
Yeah. Well, Dylan's he used it as a break time.
My phone's doing it too, though.
Yeah. It's one of those ones. But yeah.
I got a little bit of a Karen story, but it's a guy. So I used to work at a bike rental company. And
wait, like a motorbike, like a motorcycle?
No, like a bicycle rental
like
company.
Harley Davidson?
Oh, yeah. That'd be a lot cooler. No, it was basically I would rent people bikes and then tell them like, "Oh, here's some cool things to check on San Francisco." And then I had kind of depending on where I was, what location I was at, I would have a default like spiel, you know, to tell, "Oh, this would be this should kill about 2 hours. This should kill about 3 hours. This should be the whole day, whatever, you know." in Golden Gate Park, they have these ones called Surreys, which are basically like Flintstone cars, but with pedals.
What?
So
it's amazing they allow those to even be on the road.
Yeah, so basically...
They allow them on the street?
Yeah, well, yeah. So,
how do you go up a hill in those things? Your calves must be ironclad.
Look, I can say this now. The company sucked. And they basically...
Bad business model.
Yeah. And I kind of knew that those things were kind of a pain in the ass to ride around hilly-ass... I mean, it was in Golden Gate Park, so it wasn't as hilly as other parts of the city, but there's still... Those things huck going uphill. So I had this particular route I'd always try and get people to go on just because it was probably the easiest, but still roughly about an hour, so it's a bang for the buck. But there's always still going to be at least one fucking hill they got to go up. So I'm telling this one guy, and this company was so fucking outdated the way they did it. They did old-fashioned credit card slips, those like machines where you put down like the print paper, and then you put the card there and run it over. Super outdated.
What the fuck? That's a thing?
Yeah,
it's still a thing.
I just saw one recently. But
yeah,
we live in rural country, so when the power goes out and you got tourists that show up with nothing but credit cards, yeah, it's still a thing. And all it does is physically imprint the serial number off the credit card into a slip of paper.
And then you gotta protect that thing with your life, and you're in fucking Golden Gate Park where there's fucking, like, you know, just a bunch of people living in the park, basically. Anyway, so that was basically their security deposit. Anyway, I was going over this rich guy from, I don't remember, I think he was from Qatar. This rich guy from Qatar comes by. And he starts off cool at first, and then, like, something happens where I make the copy of the card, and then I don't know, something happens, something draws my attention away. I turn back, and the thing's not there. And I thought in my head, like, did I do that? Maybe I didn't do it. And then I asked him to do it again. Like, you just did it. Like, did I? Yeah, you just did it. Like, oh, 1 second. Fuck. Look around. It was on the ground. Like, oh, I found it. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I was right here. Did you just try to take a double of my card? Like, no,
oh,
the thing.
God, no,
you just did it. Like, well, something pulled my attention away. Like, you should not be lying to people like that. You know, it's very we're trying to build trust here. This and whatever goes on.
Oh
like,
my fucking God.
And I'm like, no, I get. And he keeps cutting me off. And then, like, look, here's the thing. I know you don't know me. I swear I want to steal your information. It was literally something pulling my attention away. And I thought I did it, but it wasn't there. And this is the first time the thing slipped and fell underneath the crate. So that's all this is. Brain fart. I apologize. And then the guy, his phone rings, and then he's talking on the phone for like 15 minutes, bullshitting with somebody, like leaning on the table, bullshitting with somebody while other customers are coming and going. And I'm like, fuck. Okay, whatever.
It's like this
guy's a fucking piece of shit. Anyway, so then even like a lady filling out a form to like rent a bike just shot him a glance, like, this motherfucker, you know? And then 15 minutes later, after he's done with this fucking phone call, using you know, the thing like its own personal counter, you know, I then go over the route with him as best as I can, as clear as I can. I even give him an additional 20 minutes. And I'm like, okay, so and the whole time you just give me this look like, yeah, okay, all right. I'm just kind of like he, you know, the guy goes off and he's like on the dot there at the right time. Fuck, good. I don't have to charge this guy extra. And in front of a bunch of people, this is like, you're fucking nearly killed us. I'm like, what? Like, you nearly killed us. Like, what are you talking about? Like, your directions were horrible. We ended up on the highway. I'm like, we're in Golden Gate Park. I mean, yeah, the 101 goes through there, but I mean, you don't go down that way. You nearly killed it. Of course, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. Like, sir, it's all left. If you would have landed on the highway, you didn't take a left, you know? And then he's all like, he says, oh, so it's my fault. This and that, yelling at me, losing his shit.
Yeah, it's like, who the fuck's driving?
And then I'm like, dude. And then I was like, well, I mean, you could. I shouldn't have said this. Like, I mean, you could have used Google. I gave you the instructions. We could have used Google Maps or something to get back. I'm just like, I shouldn't have said that.
Oh my God! Like, you just,
I'm the idiot. Like, all right, whatever. Here's this. Like, yelling at me. Like, okay, whatever. Have a nice day. And then just like the wife and the kids are just kind of like, oh shit, he's doing it again.
I legit feel like families like that, because I worked at Outback for a while, so like I saw plenty of families that would come in and the dad would always be like the worst person, and like it would either be the dad is the worst person and the rest of the family's disappointed, or the mom is a terrible person and the rest of the family is disappointed. And I'm like, why do you stick with these people that are just horrible in public? Like, if it was me and my fiance and we went out to dinner and I pulled some shit like that, I wouldn't be coming back home. Like, she'd be like, you're sleeping in the car or on the fucking street because you just mistreated everybody in that place. See, but that's like, I like social psychology, so there's also like a mentality that comes with a lot of older families.
Just to add into that for a second, his credit card said professor on it.
Professor?
Just to say Professor Cocksucker.
Yeah, sorry, Austin. Go ahead. I mean to cut you off. I just felt like
No. It's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. That guy's not a genius, that's for sure. Yeah. But no, so there is like a very old mentality that comes with like usually families that were built or that came together between like the literal early 1900s to like the late 90s and 80s. Where a lot of them like push shit under the rug, like, oh yeah, this person's a bad person, but if you just look past that and you look at like their real values as a person, but like those actions pile up. Those actions dictate who that person is, not just like that one time when that person makes you breakfast or that one time where that person was really, really nice to you, but what about those 7 other times where he punched somebody in a Target for no fucking reason, or this person instigated a Shih Tzu just because they said I don't like dogs, and then they don't like dogs and you have a dog and they keep kicking the fucking dog. I'm back. Okay, we're good.
But there's like, that's a good example. But like, it's sometimes this thing of like, going off what you said, like, well, when you get to know them, they're good. Like, well, here's the thing. So, I mean, because there's people I've met who, at first glance, I'm like, this guy's a fucking asshole. And then in time, like, he's okay, but it took a minute for me to get here. And that shouldn't be happening in the first place. Not to be like everyone has to meet my personal quota, not like that. No, but I mean the aspect of like there'd be some of these people who just that have that attitude and they get these defense like, well, he had a rough life, this and that.
Like, no excuse.
But there's no excuse for being an asshole. At the end of the day, like, and I personally work. So I got a job at a recording studio down the street from where I live, and the guys that I work with. The guy who hired me and the people that I work with are all flat earthers.
Fuck.
And so we broke bread, as they say. Like we all chilled out. We smoked some joints.
Was the bread round?
No, there wasn't any
flat bread.
It was all flat bread.
Was the bread round? I like that.
They're like, no. Like, once you go flatter, everything's flat. You just drive around with flat tires, so life is a flat world.
It was such an uncomfortable conversation because like right before we started the conversation, the guy who hired me said to me, if you're going to be working with us, I need you to always be honest with me. And if you see that I'm doing something wrong or if you see that I'm in the wrong, call me out and tell me what's up and I'll do the very same to you. And then his friend said, I don't know how the fuck it came up, but he mentioned that he was a flat earther. And I was just like, I don't believe in that. And he was just like, well, why? Like, why do you believe that the world is round?
Why?
Like, what I'm thinking is so stupid. And then the guy that hired me, I'm not gonna, he says, he's just like, well, why do you think it's round? And I was just like, my chest puffed up. Like, did I just walk into a room full of crazy people? And everybody's asking me. They're asking me what I'm thinking. And I'm like, is this a test? I don't fucking know. So I answer them truthfully. I'm like, well, first of all, I don't, because out of the only things in my life that I have come to terms with as a full understanding of, it's science and math. And science and math don't lie to me. Sometimes they lie to themselves because sometimes it's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But based off of the fact that we have satellite imagery, the fact that we literally have eyes in the sky all the time, should dictate that we know what we're looking at. And
I mean, there's a horizon line. There's a horizon line. I don't even need that technology.
So
who owns that? Is the big round Earth money? Is that
I was just gonna tell you that. So he said, and this was his defense. He said, "So who writes books?" And I said, "People." And he was just like, "Okay." And those people, you know, when you read books, have you ever heard of the concept of based on a true story? And I was like, I know exactly where you're heading with this, and you're wrong.
This isn't Fargo.
I'm like, we're not getting into this. And he was just like, yeah, but like, how do you know it's real? And I was just like, me personally, I haven't been up to space, but I will believe that we live on a round planet because I've been. Have you flown? And he was like, I've flown. And I was like, have you looked out the window? And he was like, yeah, and it looks like a dome. And I'm like, see, if it looks like a dome,
and it acts like a dome,
there's gotta be another part of the fucking dome, right? Like there's a half, you know, there's not just a half circle. And he was just like, well, there is. You know, he said, look at this Instagram video. And he showed me an Instagram video of somebody who, it's just like a lot of Illuminati symbols. And it's so this is what I don't know how the fuck they believe it. But apparently there's a big dome. And inside of it is the world. And inside of the world, there's these little circular layers that are separating, you know, first of all, the United States is at the center of it.
Of course.
I don't know how the fuck.
I mean, well, that's logical right there. I can understand that.
Yeah, exactly. That's logical. So the United States is at the center, and then outwards of that is like a wall that you can't see past until you get past it. And when you get past it, there's Europe, and then there's China. China! Not Japan, not India, not Africa, China. And then outside of that, the world falls off. The world falls
Where's
off.
Antarctica in all this?
No,
where's Asgard at?
There is no Antarctica, man. That's the thing.
Yeah, that doesn't exist. Apparently, Antarctica and the South Pole are the little gates that are blocking us from seeing the outside. And I was like, hey, I got another question. What's outside of the dome? And he said nothing. He said to me, like, nothing. I'm like, so you believe that we are literally floating in nothing right now? Like, you know nothing is something, right? And he was like, what? And I was like, nothing is something. Because it is a concept, meaning that it is technically something. And he was like, no, but it's nothing. It's blackness. It's nothing. And I was just like, see, but you are not looking outside of your dome here. He was
leave the dome, beyond the dome. You know.
Yeah, look outwards.
See,
but he didn't.
We just need to get this guy a flight into space, just to, you know.
I'd fund it. I'd really fund like sending flat earthers into space. Like I would love to do that if I had $1 billion. I really would.
Funny thing. Speaking on that, sending flat earthers into space. Here is a funny, true thing because it's a video of it. There is a flat earther who put together his own rocket to fly up as high as he could, take pictures while he's up there. So he could prove to us all that everything's flat. And there's a bunch of other flat earthers around him who are like, we believe you, show 'em all, you know. And then homeboy flies up like it's supposed to.
Into the
parachute comes floating down. And then off in the distance, you just see like, is that the fucking parachute? They're just sitting there just floating down the ground. And then just in the distance, you just see this tiny little speck just hit like a mountain, like maybe a mile away, like that, like, oh my god, they start running and driving over it. I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't be sad.
Yeah,
I can't be sad right now.
It's
that's funny to me.
Yeah, well, because like, it's really interesting because, you know, you're looking for. I understand, like, you know, certain conspiracy theories. Like, I get it. I get the concept behind, you know, that you don't trust, you know, what the government is telling you, because there is a lot that they're not explaining to us. However, there are also base understandings of what life, science, and the understanding of the universe are. And I feel like flat earthers are also the people that don't believe that radiation exists, that don't believe that global warming's a thing. And it's because nobody's properly educated.
Probably
at the end of the
crystals
day,
or some bullshit.
yeah, at the end of the day, yeah.
Well, it's the weird thing too. It's like they put all this time and effort into like trying not to believe stuff. It's like, man, if they put that time and effort in just actually reading and just educating, like you would have all this
audiobook even. Why not?
Yeah, I don't care.
Not gonna leave.
But it's also because of the fact that
we'll get one of those like shadow puppet shows for you.
It's weird because we live in a world where people are like, at the same time that people are losing their intelligence, like they're not necessarily just their intelligence, but their self-awareness. That not only are they losing that, but they're also losing their attention span because our technology is consistently taking away our attention span. So not only are they not really willing to sit down and educate themselves and take the time to dive into it a little bit more, but it's usually the first few things that they see that are just like, yeah, why shouldn't I why should I believe that? That's not real. The government doesn't pay me money, but I support them anyway. God fucking damn it! It's all just it's all contradictory, man. That's what it is.
Now I guess the thing is, before how are we this stupid now with technology this far? I'm like, I think we were always this stupid. Just the idiots now have a voice too. That's all.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah, exactly. It's weird because it's the people that also get triggered by those people that are being loud and racist and stupid that are exuberating that even further because they're just like, hey, look at this stupid person. I personally don't believe that they should be given a voice because, yeah, they can have their freedom of speech in their little rock hole somewhere, but if you let it get out any farther, it's going to spread because stupid loves to spread because that's what mass hysteria is. Mass hysteria is just somebody doesn't understand why that person's screaming, so they just scream themselves.
Yeah, well, and that's like so many things in life. It's like, so many people, like, they don't really have their own opinions, so they just listen to whoever's there. It's the same thing that, it's like a movie. Like, if somebody says, like, oh, that movie fucking sucks, and they hear that, like, well, that critic said it does, so yeah, that movie fucking sucks. It's like, did you see the movie yet? No, I didn't, but it sucks. And
there you go.
It becomes that kind of notion. And maybe if they never heard that, they might have said, oh, that's actually one of my favorite movies ever, but because somebody else said it for them, they start, their opinions aren't their own.
Exactly. They're not actually thinking for themselves. And it's funny because, in the world that we currently live in, they also don't want to acknowledge that they're being a sheep. So they say other people are sheep. So what the fuck?
on that note, there is sometimes, walking contradiction here. Going back to San Francisco for a second, across from one of the locations I worked at, the bike place, there was a Whole Foods, and because
listen, yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was gonna say before you get there, listen, liberals can be just as sheep as the other side, man. I've seen it, man.
They're all sheep. Yeah. They're all sheep in my book.
I've been in the middle for probably the longest time because I've seen both sides of it, and I feel like either side, they don't want to budge anywhere closer to the middle or any closer to one other side because they're scared that their own friends and family will oppress them because they are, budging in a certain direction.
And I'll circle back to that in a second, but just going back to the whole, people pushing so hard to try and be different, man, just on the fringe, man. Anyway, since it's Golden Gate Park and Haight-Ashbury, there's a bunch of wannabe hippies walking around, basically people who they call themselves hippies, but they just fucking blare G.G. Allen and drink malt liquor and hang out in the park all day, and act like I'm off the grid, bro,
I'm off the grid, you live in a park.
Yeah, exactly. And then you pull out your cell phone and be like, Dad, could you put some more money in the bank account because we need some take-and-bake pizzas?
This kid did not look
down by Miriam Park.
And this kid did not look.
Yeah, Dad, I'm so looking for a job right now. I don't know why you always gotta heart me on that, man. I'm kidding there. It's just, my type. It's just it's a hard world out there, Dad. You just wouldn't know. They just used to give out jobs back in the day. I don't get that luxury.
I know I got fired from my part-time job at the smoke shop for showing up late, but I know they open at 12.
Half the stuff in the back, but
Okay, I'm feeling personally attacked here. Goddamn.
We all change. No. So this
we all grow a little bit less.
There's a it was just so funny. There's like, there's a line, and then like there's some like fucking wannabe little punk rocker who didn't even look all dirtied up, but he had like the jacket with a bunch of patches and shit and
the gutter
lip ring and well, it wasn't even like dirty, but he looked like he was trying to it was like maybe week 2 of that maybe. And he's on the phone. It was a smartphone, by the way. He says, like, yeah, man. And he's, like, going in, grabbing something. He says, yeah, man, whatever. I was just doing whatever. Yeah. Right now, I'm just standing in line with all these sheeple looking around.
Okay.
And then, like, there's, like, this big black big black dude who's a bodybuilder behind him. Like, fuck you call me? It's just like, the guy just, like, put the thing back and walked out. So
Yeah.
Like, then, like...
Because it's like... Yeah, you don't know your demographic, dude.
Yeah.
It's also like, okay, let's run down the lines. Okay, you are in a line at a Whole Foods on a smartphone buying something with a logo off a shelf, and everyone around you is still somehow a sheeple,
Yeah. It's like you're still a subject to capitalism unless you're killing animals in that forest and eating them for yourself, my dude. I'm sorry.
Living off squirrel meat and
Yeah, unless you're living off of squirrel meat, listen, dude, you're not really living.
Well, those people are the people that like they think they're living off the land, but let's be honest, if you're living in a city living off other people's scraps, you're not fucking living off the land.
Yeah,
You're in
no,
the
like
introduction
you're eating out of the
to-
trash that's still eating something the capitalist world has created for you. Welcome.
That's something that
They read
somebody
the
else
introduction
paid
to,
for, and now you don't want to pay for it yourself, so you're just really just a thief.
It's basically they read the introduction to a Howard Zinn book, and now they think that they're like on the edge.
Yeah, exactly.
See,
God, Howard
it's
Zinn,
it's the weirdest thing because they look I'm trying to think of an analogy for it because like I don't know specifically what it's like to have to like see a glimpse of what reality looks like outside that little box, but like because it's not a lot of people that have that. Not a lot of people will actually get that opportunity to openly accept there's a possibility of some other belief system outside of their own. That's a very small minority of humans who come to a conclusion like that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well,
like-
I feel like right now we're I'm not going to go into like left or right. I mean, I myself definitely will probably lean more left than I do right. That being said, I'm not going to just nod my head to whatever the Democratic Party says, but
I definitely don't.
Yeah, the Democratic Party themselves, I'm not once again not trying to get into political talk. I'm just going to say this just to clarify my stance on that. I'm just not like I don't even really consider myself Democratic. I just lean more left than I do right, and that's all it comes down to it. But at the same time, I feel like right now, since so many before it was just like, how does this fucking internet thing work? Now everyone has a smartphone just about, and most people know how it all works. And now people, I feel like we're just kind of at this little bit of this period where we have too many people who can't get with whichever program, and too many people who just got a headbutt. And we're always going to have disagreements on something one way or the other. But I feel like in time it's going to calm down once like people either die or once it's been here long enough. We're like, okay, we realize now that this is how we realize how this is what they do. They pull up the videos that make me mad. They put out misinformation, and some people just want to believe the misinformation. But it is what it is,
See, but that's that really toxic culture that's become built as of right now. I think it's going to be the former. I think we're just going to lose at some point. We're going to lose a lot of people who had some very bad opinions, and then it's going to be that, and then we'll move on to the next generation of people who will be a little bit more progressive, and it'll slowly wean itself out.
Well,
because
I feel. Oh, I cut you off. Sorry.
Oh no, it's all right. That's basically all I had to say about that, because it's inevitable that at some point that very uneducated, unpopular opinion will at some point just be weeded out, because at some point people are going to know more than those people, and the people that know more are going to be like, okay, well, no, like we're going to stop giving you a voice at some point.
there's always going to be crazy fringe people on the left or right or even the middle, but at the same time, it is one of those things where a lot of like, remember when we were kids, everything's like, we're going to try and get rid of video games. Video games are the devil. Like, that conversation hardly comes up anymore because most of those people fucking died.
Well, yeah,
the
worst
ones that
part
are
too is
still
like
fighting it. The ones that are still fighting it, yeah, those guys are.
Well, I was gonna say it's like that thing too. Is like I remember being a kid, you just thought like, oh, it's all those like Christian people are all what's getting rid of it, and that's part of it. But then it was also like, you get older, you're like, no, it's actually all like Hillary Clinton and like all like the left side people were the people that were all the anti-video game section. You're like Joe Lieberman and all those fucks. It's just like it's good that that's finally like I know I've said it on the podcast a couple of times, but it's like it's so nice that things like Grand Theft Auto and things like that are just accepted as like a family entertainment nowadays. Like
everybody's like crashing cars into each other and shooting each other.
Well, it's like it's just so nice
like that Family Guy scene where everybody's got their bulletproof vests on and they're firing at each other.
But just like all these video games, it's like Mortal Kombat and Doom and all these things that were considered just the most heinous things at one point in time are just considered like, oh no, it's a good old thing for the. It's like Monopoly at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Because in the 30s or whatever, when Monopoly came out, that thing was getting scrutinized for being like, whoa, this is spreading the capitalist agenda.
Yeah, exactly. It's just the world is a changing, as one man once said in the Watchmen movie. Yeah, in the Watchmen movie.
As George Thorogood once said, was it him?
My brain is off. Wait, what time is it?
Well, for you, it's later than for us. So
7:37.
I actually do have to start heading to bed, as I do have plans in the morning. I have to get up and take my fiance to work. But it was, God, guys, this has been so nice. I want to come back on the podcast again soon and like fucking riff again, because this is like it's calling to my bones. I miss this so much.
Well, you gotta come on more often. It's been way too long. That's the thing. It's like it's like so many things in life. You always say like, hey, we're gonna get together, we're gonna hang out, we're gonna do this, and then next thing you know, it's not that the good intentions aren't there, but next thing you know, it's like shit, a year plus has passed. It doesn't take much.
Yeah.
So.
See, now I think what we should do is, because like legitimately next weekend I have absolutely nothing going on, so I think we should jump on the pod again. Let's fucking do it. Let's do a twofer. It's the new year. Why not bring it off right?
We can. We can do a couple stuff. Actually, I think I got a Comic-Con next weekend, but beyond that, that's just a Sunday.
Then let's do it, and we'll gossip about your Comic-Con, talk tea, shoot the shit. Come on, be great.
Yeah, we'll do all kinds of fun stuff like that too.
We'll do every acronym for talking. We'll flap the lips. I gotta get out of here. But I hope you guys have a happy New Year. I hope you guys stay safe. I need sleep.
No, you get to bed now. And then we'll have to do this again. Dylan, you'll have to come on more and do some more talking.
Yeah, I'd love to. At some point, I'd like to. I am not as nearly as well versed in the manga and the other stuff that you guys get into, but at some point, I want the one thing that I am into is music.
Let's talk music then. I love music.
I would be happy to.
I've been a Yes fan since I was a kid, so I love prog rock. Manfred Mann's Earth Band, my shit. Come on.
See, I get into the harder stuff, but I have a wide range of tastes in music, and that's something that I could go on for hours as a musician myself, and Spencer is as well, and all of that. So I mean, pick a topic. I enjoyed the time here. I'm sorry I had to step away, but I'm dealing with some family issues and had to take that call. I'm sorry I have to step off. So I'd be happy to come back anytime, and I appreciate you guys having me.
Oh, we're glad to have you, man. Yeah, we'll have to get you both on again at some point.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's fucking go then. Let's do it. But let's jump on soon. I really do want to jump on another pod soon. Okay. I missed you guys so much, and like just the whole vibe. It's just something. It calls to my soul.
Exactly. Yes, definitely sooner than later. We're gonna get this. We're gonna party on all that kind of good stuff. Beyond all that stuff, Austin, you got any shout outs you need to do? Any places you need to lead people or any of that good stuff?
I'm gonna be a VTuber soon, so that's gonna be fun. But I haven't.
Is that one like you do like the thing with like the anime? Okay, that's what I thought, because I saw that popping up on Steam, and I was like, I was just looking at the section of animation programs. I kept seeing the VTuber thing. I'm like, what the hell is this? I'm
so excited for it. Like, I'm legitimately so hyped because I started a YouTube channel where I just play video games with people. It's called The Blonde Shinigami. Go follow me.
There you go.
But yeah, I'm currently working with an artist. We're about 3 weeks away from doing some debut ideas. We have like 4 different models, and the one that I really want is like a cyberpunk Bleach-esque one. And it's so cool because I had somebody design the room, and the room is like a whole futuristic dojo looking thing, and it's so cool. It's got cyberpunk laser blades sticking out of the wall. Like, I just had a fight with somebody. So
you'll have to send us the link when you get it all up.
Yeah, no, when I have everything set up, I believe me, I think, wouldn't that be fun? But to have like your first VTuber guest.
We have to make a video episode of that too.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that'd be interesting. I don't know. It was funny because when I was looking at all the programs on Steam for it and so on, it was like all the comments was like, guys like, I could be a big fat sweaty man and live my dream of being a hot little anime girl.
Yes.
Half the comments were, and I was like, oh, okay. Oh, I knew where this was going.
You mean I could be a dragon with giant tits?
Yes.
Can I have those tits on my forehead so I could be like Rodney Dangerfield?
You can be anybody. You can be a furry Bob Dylan if you want to. Get artsy with it. But I hope you guys stay safe. Yeah, but for anybody on the line, send me a message, Austin J. Cook, or over at the Blonde Shinigami. That's my stuff.
Awesome. Well, you can always find Old Man Orange stuff at oldmanorange.com for more podcasts, Pizza Boys, comics, all that old animation stuff, and all the fun times. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Ryan Dunnigan, and our 2 special guests,
Austin Cook,
Dylan Moriarty.
And we'll see you some other time.
Nice to meet you guys.
Already, have a safe day or evening. Yes, whatever time you're hearing this.